If you believe that's disinfo, then let's talk about underground bases. Why do we have underground bases, since you say that in your experience they do exist?
In my experience, they do exist, and they do exist also people that are particularly inclined in working those underground bases, because you can experiment bacteriological, nuclear, and all kinds of devices that are not possible to be experimented overground. And also to experiment the most evil of the evil, because mankind nowadays is playing God, playing with genes, playing with mixing a cow with a dog, with a human, with a lion, with a...
Okay, but what about... Okay, so you're saying genetic engineering, you're saying genetic engineering, you're saying hidden, atomic bombs, whatever, experimentation.
And also,
but why are they building cities underground?
Cities underground are built for the disaster scenario, the doomsday scenario.
Well, is there such a thing?
Yes. Idiots, giving money to these idiots and putting them in power. My God, I don't understand. Democracy, the biggest illusion of all time. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And the division between church and state is a fake. It doesn't exist. It's all linked, and
it's all run by the Vatican and the Jesuits at the top of the pyramid.
I know, and you forgot to mention also the Zionists, which are very powerful in this whole enclave, which represent the old aristocracy of the old Jewish families are the old aristocracy. Why? Because these aristocratic families, like for example the Queen of England, like to trace themselves back to King David. They see themselves, including my family, the Lion family, as descendants either of Jesus or at least of King David. So they seem to be viewing England in general a bit like the lost tribe of Israel. So that's why you have this British Zionism, and also why the aristocracy in England interbreeded so much with the Jews and certain Jewish families. So to create this whole thing, so whereby at the end you don't understand anymore who is in control of anything, because he's married with him and then married with him.
We are running out of time here.
One last thing. Well, you can see when they're giving the Nobel Peace Prizes, especially in Sweden, you have a whole table of leading Zionist Jewish families, then you have the aristocrats. Everything is in order, in this new world order, and has a specific place to it.
Okay, well, thank you, Leo. You're a very brave man. Obviously, you're going up against an incredible opponent. And you...
I think that I'm going up definitely against an incredible opponent, because for certain people they fall into the trap of becoming victims of it. And this, I think, is happening a bit to the Barbato guy with his Secretum Omega. It's easy to become victim of this whole disinfo operations or of this mind control that is going on for certain projects. For example, there was a guy who was deliberately made give this information regarding the cosmic top secret level of NATO, saying that it was linked with the recovering of...
You're talking about Robert Dean, the person we interviewed.
Yeah, a guy like him. I didn't know you interviewed him, but I heard about him many times. I think is the typical example of how you can fall victim of these people. Because at that point, they give you certain information. They know they have given you this, they have showed you certain things. They have showed you just enough, okay, boom. And then the rest of the life, what you do? You get kicked out of all your jobs, you get to become the victim, obviously. But at the same time, what you saw and what really you are reporting, is it really true, or is it a cover-up and an operation to cover up other interests by the powers that are there and by the people on top of you that know obviously very well how to mind control people and how to spread this information? We said before, some people call them in another way aliens, UFO, so you said it's only a matter of calling them in different ways. Yes, but by calling them aliens and UFO and by spreading the myth of Roswell and all that, what has happened is just that people, the modern day, the average person out there, watching TV, gets brainwashed by all this rubbish, and at the end of the day, he's not really understanding that there is demons, there is angels, there is God, and if there is an end of time scenario, this is a very serious scenario and should be taken very seriously.
Okay, that's it. Do you have any more?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, say that one more time. And this scenario, say your last line.
And this scenario is definitely very important if we are approaching the end of times, and some great changes will be definitely happening. But for them to brainwash you about the aliens and all that, while instead the real intention is to just microchip you and put you in a global network in which you are the prisoner, that is their objective.
Who's at the top of the pyramid? Who specifically? Is it the Pope or is it someone else?
Or is it the Black? We have to first of all divide power into temporal and spiritual power.
Right.
Okay? But the thing is that these two things are linked, like two keys or two eagles watching one side or the other, like the 33-degree Masonic symbol. This is the oppositions watching each other, but linked still. And obviously the Pope was always linked with the Emperor. So if the Emperor today is the President of the United States, but still under the Pope, because the spiritual blessing comes from the Pope.
Okay,
the Pope structure then
the Pope
has...
is a very old man. Is he really in charge or is someone else in charge?
We have the Pope, then we have the Jesuits. And many people say, are the Jesuits in charge? The Jesuits are in charge for many years of the Secret Service of the Vatican.
Okay,
which is
but do
also...
you know these people?
Yes, I have photos, if you want, with the head Jesuit of the Interreligious Dialogue Department of the Jesuits. In fact, recently I have been accused on the internet of being myself a Jesuit agent because there is pictures of me with senior Jesuits. Now, the problem is why I have pictures with the senior Jesuits, because I was involved in interreligious dialogue, and up until even recently, last May, I participated to an interreligious dialogue meeting here in Oslo, where this senior Jesuit was present, which is Thomas Michel, and for people it's strange that enemies can't meet up. Well, I was critic towards him, in front of him, but we still meet up. We don't have to go around with guns and shoot each other. There has to be a level of dialogue above all, even between the enemies. And this has happened always since the beginning of time. Now, if the opposition has only to be one guy, like Alex Jones shouting with a microphone in front of a building, well, that is a very stupid opposition for me, sorry. Opposition has to be a constructive opposition. We have to propose some alternatives, discuss some possibilities.
Okay, but what alternative would you suggest? I mean, what is your vision, or what would your vision be? How would it be different than the Jesuits say? Vision for the world? Different spiritual path, different occupation, different preoccupation. What would you be? How would you be differing from him?
Sure. Well, my intention is to reveal tonight, whenever you're going to see this video, a few things that might shock you. Like, for example, the revelation that in the Vatican himself we have over 40 cardinals that are Muslim and that are practicing the Jehoshaphat, which is a specific holy book that the Muslims use for specific purposes, and called the Jehoshaphat Al-Kabiri. And this book is being left to the descendants of Muhammad for a specific purpose, also leading to the end of times.
What is the purpose?
To be able to control that evil, those evil forces that, for example, the majority, unfortunately, in the Vatican practices with the black masses, with the evocation of certain entities, with the use of these demons. Now, people must say, how is possible the Pope is evoking demons? Well, if you just do a little bit of brief history lessons and you go and study the history of the Vatican, you will find that from Papa Onofre to many other popes in the Vatican, they have been practicing magicians themselves, using evocations, publishing also material on these evocations, through who? The Jesuit order is in charge of the esoteric side of the Vatican. This has happened because the esoteric order is very important for the Vatican, as it includes all this secret information regarding the evocations and how they should be done. Zaccaria Sitchin also gets invited by the Pope, John Paul II, visits secretly the Pope in the Vatican, takes from him instructions to write his pile of rubbish, which is the End of Days book that he has brought into being lately.
You're saying Zecharia Sitchin was told to write this book and was instructed on what to write?
Zecharia Sitchin was indeed distracted because he can't tell the truth. This guy is deliberately spreading this information because he can't reveal really the truth without causing problems for his cause, the Zionist cause, the cause of the Vatican, which he has embraced.
Are you saying that Zecharia Sitchin is a member of what? The Illuminati?
Absolutely. Zecharia Sitchin is a member of the New World Order used to spread deliberate disinformation. Let's say